I used to record myself as a kid, singing horribly. I don't have the tapes anymore, because my parents didn't save a lot. After they divorced, things just disappeared. Maybe when my mom is on her deathbed, she'll use her last bit of strength to guide me to a secret room filled with all of my childhood things. This is my fantasy, to have the evidence of my younger self and the life I lived with my family suddenly reappear. Because my childhood wasn't unhappy, or I don't remember it being unhappy. Or at least I know there was a time in my life when I felt at ease, and my family falling apart took this ease from me. Children leave a paper trail of pasted together art projects and stories spelled out longhand in notebooks. But kids live in the moment and are eager to move on to the next. So it's up to the parents to decide how precious this material actually is. Where does it go? A cardboard box on a high shelf? A filing cabinet? The trash? My family doesn't have the best track record for preserving the past. Evidence is thin, so thin that some ancestors have almost disappeared into nothing. This applies not only to Gerrit Jongsma on my father's side, but also to my great-uncle Johan on my mother's side. During World War II, Johan was a resistance fighter. He was discovered running a resistance cell, so the Nazi intelligence service scooped him up and shipped him off to Bergen-Belsen. He died around liberation time, maybe from the conditions in the camp, or maybe he was bombed to death by friendly fire. The evidence is murky, and we'll never know the truth. Johan was in love with my grandmother, my mother's mother. She spent the war in a TB clinic, and they promised each other they would marry when they reunited. They kept their love alive through correspondence, writing letters to each other until the Nazi war machine severed their connection. This shattered my grandmother. She found comfort in the arms of Johan's younger brother Jan. They married and had children, but she never forgot Johan. She made his letters disappear, but continued to praise him to my mother and her siblings. My mother grew up drenched in stories about Johan and bloodied by the resentment of her abusive father, Johan's brother, who perhaps knew in his heart that he would never be the hero of his family story. In that way, I don't think it's a coincidence that my parents found each other. There's a continuity of shame and denial, a bond of silence tied up in the war stories that can never be spoken out loud, but can't quite be forgotten. Why treasure the past if it holds experiences too horrible to discuss? So the lesson of silence lives on, far after all else has been forgotten.